always got more energy.
All right. Let me know when we live.
We are live.
All right. Hey, good evening. Welcome back to the Let Your Words Count podcast.
Good evening, good evening.
Good evening. We are here with what episode we on,
59.
boys? 59, episode 59 of the Let Your Words Count podcast.
The word is pause.
Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. Glad to have you with us again. Obviously, we'll probably get some more people as we continue. How you guys doing?
I have no complaints, sir. Still here.
Glad to hear that.
Yes, sir.
Glad to hear that. G, you back in the building after missing a couple of them, right?
Yeah, I did, man. Was sick around Christmas time, and you could hear my throat still messed up from COVID and everything, but been good, though, man.
Okay.
Yeah.
So should we have on, like, hazmat suits talking to you this
a
close?
month ago, I know, right?
Okay, all right.
Probably. Wouldn't be a bad idea.
All right. How you doing, E?
I'm doing pretty good, man. I'm blessed to be here, man. I'm thankful to be with you guys once again.
Me too, bro.
Absolutely.
Me too. Thankfulness. That's the key right now.
Yes,
for
it
me,
is.
man. I'm extremely happy to be here. Always happy to have a good conversation with y'all. We're missing my guy, Dr. Cole, but we'll catch up with him another time soon. Yeah, he's with us in spirit, and hopefully he'll join in and maybe have a comment or two for us.
Sure.
Anyway, without too much further ado, today's word is pause. P-A-U-S-E. Pause. So we're going to quickly go over definition. We're going to talk about the history of the word. Then we're going to just kind of, you guys know the drill. We're going to jump in and just kind of have a general discussion on the use of the word and the impacts that it has in terms of our interpretations of it.
All right, let's go.
Sounds good.
Let's do it.
Definition for pause. We have a pause is a temporary stop or break in action, speech, or thought, often intentional and brief, yet deeply impactful. One more time, a pause is a temporary stop or break in action, speech, or thought, often intentional and brief, yet deeply impactful. You want to hit the, or is Mike going to do the etymology?
I can, yeah. Absolutely.
Him being the language expert that he is, the multilingual.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, the resident language expert on the Let Your Words Count podcast. All right. So the etymology for the word pause comes from the prefix re or again, and the suffix frame. Nope, this is not
etymology.
Yep, that's the etymology from reframe. Real nice.
Real nice. I don't know how that changed.
That's all right. Okay, well, we'll skip the etymology for now. We'll do the emotional lens for this one.
Okay.
And then maybe we can post the etymology at another time or something like that. Okay, so the emotional lens for the word pause starts with our positive. The positive there is calm, awareness, grounding, and control. Those are the positive emotions that come up from the word pause. And here's the flip side of that same coin. The negative emotions that come forward are discomfort, impatience, and the fear of silence. Okay. The last thing is a Y for the word pause. A pause disrupts momentum. It creates space, and space can feel uncomfortable when we are used to urgency or reaction.
Love it.
I'm going to read that one more time. It says, a pause disrupts momentum. A pause disrupts momentum. It creates space, and space can feel uncomfortable when we're used to urgency or reaction.
Very good. Very good. All right, so I think I did a little boo-boo last time with this.
A little boo-boo.
So what I'll do is I'll go ahead and I'll do the etymology. So the etymology, the origin from Latin pausa and Greek poen, meaning to stop, cease, or rest. Historically, pause implied rest or restraint, not delay or weakness. Okay. Once again, from Latin pausa and Greek poen, meaning to stop, cease, or rest. Historically, pause implied rest and restraint, not delay or weakness. All right?
Okay.
You guys think about that.
When you first sent the word pause, my initial reaction my initial reaction was one of rejection. Because in my mind, I went to the fact that, and it's funny that it came up in the emotional lens, is because that's what a pause literally represents to me, a break in momentum. And since my life at this current moment is geared towards building as much momentum as I can towards the things that I'm seeking, the direction that I'm headed, a pause feels like something that automatically kind of rubs me the wrong way, if I can say it that way.
I can understand that.
So that's kind of my initial thought.
That makes sense.
Yep.
It does. Go ahead, G. You got some more? Or you want me to go ahead?
You go ahead.
Yeah, this is, I thought about this a couple of weeks ago concerning pause due to, pause doesn't mean quit, right? It means rest. It means stop. And pausing allows, in my mind, I've learned to appreciate the value of pausing. And I don't think I've understood properly the operation of pausing, because earlier on I thought it means to quit. Okay. And to me, quitting it depends on what it is. And you know what? I don't want to go down there. I don't want to go down that path of quitting, because quitting is not 100% a bad thing. Okay. And it did, because I'm trying to get my thoughts together, y'all. Because to understand that there's a break in momentum is a good thing, but that break in momentum doesn't mean that you quit. Okay, It goes right back to that definition. It is very important for us to understand that.
So if I could, I just want to ask you a question. So it sounds like pausing is important to you. Could you give me an idea of like how it's impacted your life in a positive way, like figuring out those moments where you say it's important to have a pause or take a break?
Yeah, and I like that question. Because with that question, it caused me to pause and really gather my thoughts.
There you go.
Love it. That is the reason why pause is important.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yes. Pausing before you speak is always a good thing.
Absolutely. Because pausing allows you to, in that moment, even if the meditation is just for 2 seconds, that pause is that rest that allows a person to evaluate and analyze. And I think that is the important process that I see is valuable with pausing, just that rest. The momentum, and like you said, going back to what you said earlier, is that you didn't necessarily like it. And I'm not trying to put words in your mouth, but I can understand when you're gaining momentum and then you have to pause. Put it like this. When I'm driving down the road and I have a song on that I love, right? Let's say a Stevie Wonder, song playing, and I'm just in the zone, and I get a call.
Oh yeah, you be wanting to throw your phone out on the freeway,
right? Because the phone forces you to pause, and I think that's that momentum that you're talking about when that pause is just that disruption of momentum.
It's stopping your groove.
It's stopping your groove, right? But sometimes that call is important. You know what I mean? Where you have to take time and take it, or whatever the case may be. And that's kind of like what I'm talking about. Is like that pause is important for you to stop, rest, and then evaluate. The pause is not a negative thing. It's an opportunity for you to evaluate, analyze, and try to figure out what's the next steps are and how to improve. Anybody got something else?
I think I see where you're coming from. At least I think I do. Yes, I agree that life sometimes, and I think the cell phone ringing was a good analogy because that's not a pause that you volunteered for.
Yeah.
Sometimes life forces us to take a break from this thing or that thing. It forces
100%.
a stop, so to speak, or in this case, a pause, which can break momentum. And to me, it can feel frustrating. In my experience, it can feel frustrating when a pause seems like it's something that's being forced on me when I'm in a groove, let's say. Now, whether that's listening to music or writing or creating something or reading or talking to y'all or even, and that's those are smaller surface level things, but even in the sense of having to pivot in life, a change in a major relationship or a change in a career or things like that. A lot of those things can be viewed as either a pause or they can be considered as something a little more serious where we may feel like we've been derailed and things like that. But if we can maybe start to look at things as pauses, then we can kind of keep our mind in the right space to say that I can start up again. Because 100%. If I'm derailed, then I got to rebuild everything.
Yeah.
But if I just paused, then maybe I can just pick up where I left off and then rebuild that momentum. So I kind of see where you're coming from. Yeah. For me, a pause, and I will admit that my aversion to pausing at this moment probably just comes from the fact that I am really, really working hard to build momentum.
It's a sense of urgency.
I understand.
I have a very serious sense of urgency. That's the perfect way to put it. Mm-hmm. The things that I'm looking to do in my life, the things that I'm reaching for. And here's another thing. Reaching for them with a sense of urgency doesn't necessarily even equate to time for me.
Understood.
It's not that I'm rushing to get to any particular place within a certain time period. I mean, obviously my goals have times associated with them, but what I'm really getting at is that I know that when I reach this thing, that opens the door for the next thing. And then that opens the door for 2 more things. And then that opens the door for 4 more things. And so I'm looking to expand in that way. And every pause feels like I got to go back and, now I have fewer options.
So I got a question for you. So do you think that is there a way, I'm not trying to tell you to do anything, but is there a way that you can I'm just kidding. Dude, I need to get away from preference and stuff. I need to just be straight direct.
Just
right?
say it.
You know what I'm saying? Just say it, right? So do you think finding a way to incorporating pauses in that process will help?
How do you mean?
Okay. So
give me an example.
For example, you're on a journey, but you have to fill your gas tank.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
That's a pause.
Okay.
But that pause is needful in order for you to go further down the road.
Okay. Yeah, right. I see what you're saying. Okay, so I don't know if so to me, let's use the example of refueling.
Okay.
In the journey of life, for me, at least this is just my experience, and then, up to this point, I still got a lot of learning left to do and a lot of life left to live. But building my momentum when I'm headed in a certain direction, to me, adding fuel doesn't require me to stop and pull off to do so. You know what I'm saying? The same way it would with a physical vehicle. The vehicle of life, for me, feels like when I want to add fuel, I just put fuel on and, I don't stop moving necessarily in order to do that. So, for instance, I'll give you a more tangible example. Anybody that really knows me knows that I'm a reader. I constantly, anytime you talk to me, I'm in the middle of maybe 2 or 3 books. But okay. As I'm saying that, my answer is changing because there is always a time for integration after receiving wisdom or new knowledge.
Agreed.
And that's a pause. It really is. It definitely is. Wow, that just shifted my whole...
Can I jump in?
Real time.
In real time, bro. But I'm happy to admit if I'm wrong. And I was looking at it a little differently, but now I'm shifting it in real time to think about the fact that anytime I do receive something, I can either just keep going and say, oh, that was nice, or I can pause for a moment to integrate what I've learned and figure out and filter through, what parts of it I accept and what parts of it I don't. I can let fly and things like that, and then how to apply it to life. That does require a pause. So I do agree with you.
And I'm glad, man. That's beautiful, man, that you said that, because you went down a path that I was already thinking. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Because I was just thinking about a checkpoint. That's basically what it is. It's a checkpoint. You know what I mean? Because it's a checkpoint to evaluate, pause, take a moment, and then rest and see, hey, how far did I come? You've gone pretty far. You know what I'm saying? That pause is meaningful. You know what I mean? So that's good. Spot on. No, spot on.
Spot on.
Spot on, G. G, you had something, or you good?
No, I think it's good. Like one of the things I think is like inherent in the definition when I think of the word is that you're going to resume, right? Like pausing is not
very good.
Like you said, it's not quitting. It's not stopping. It's when it's intentional and focused, it can be a good thing, right? Now, we know people may take advantage of it and waste time, but I think that's where there's probably like more of that sense of urgency, is to make sure we're not appearing like we're just being lazy or slothful or something like that to people who are looking on. But to make sure, like, again, I think there's a way to do it when it's intentional and trying to avoid like a reactive emotion and kind of gravitating more towards like an intentional response, right? So not letting your emotions be the first thing to kind of cause a response or cause motion, but to sit there and kind of think and make sure you're being measured about it. But I think where that conflict because I kind of felt the same resistance to the word, I think, when we first talked about it or whatever. But I think that's because we're used to seeing in the world right now, like if you're in a debate or an argument, the volume of words and the speed of delivery kind of seem to dictate who the crowd thinks has won the discussion. You know what I mean? So I think that kind of gets programmed into us a lot, where we're thinking you got to be like just on the spot, constantly saying something and never letting your opponent have a chance to reset. Because a person that pauses or that waits, some of the crowd maybe sometimes feels like, look, that person is losing because they don't have anything to say back in response, when it could be that speaker is taking time to make sure he formulates his words correctly. But, and that speaker, normally, if he has that much wisdom, he probably doesn't care what the crowd thinks. It's more about getting the point across. But that's just it. It's just like sent me a couple different ways to think of like how we interpret it or how we look at it versus how necessary pausing is, right? We can't just go all the time and never stop to think, never recalibrate, never charge a battery back up. There has to be time that we kind of have some intention behind what we're doing, and that's sometimes difficult to do on the fly or while you're multitasking, right?
Yeah, that's really good.
Yeah.
Agreed.
I was thinking about, hopefully I can say this correctly, but Tamara, my wife, she brought something to my attention about sales, and they said that
CELLS?
Yeah, sales. Yep, when you're selling a product or something.
Oh, sales. Okay.
Yeah, sales. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Sales.
No, you good.
And they typically say that when you're pitching something to a potential client, that pause is very important. And the first person that speaks is the one that loses. And I thought about that as you were saying that, G. I was like, man, that's powerful, bro. Because it doesn't matter of the multitude and quantity of words that spit out. It matters of the pause and the rest and the delivery once the silence is recognized and evaluated. It goes back to one of the words that we used earlier on, and I think Mike, you was on that call too. It was about stillness. Man, stillness is powerful, dude. You know what I'm saying? And it's like music. To me, this is how I look at pause. It goes back to what you guys were saying about the journey, and like you said, taking a stop, a rest, and reading the book, and you incorporating the wisdom that you use in those moments. And G, you're talking about a person that feels like that they're winning an argument based off of what's been said or whatnot, and that silence can be uncomfortable. But when you look at music, when you play music, when you listen to Mozart and classical, they have these moments of pause in there. And when they come back, it just takes the sound to another level. And that's what drummers are known for, that, and bassists are known for that. Because why? Because they're the foundation of music. And when you hear that beat drop, that pause for a moment, and that beat drops, it takes on another journey of a song. And that's why I'm saying that when we utilize pause properly, you can orchestrate some wonderful things, man. And that's why I think pausing is beautiful. And we don't do it enough. And I'm learning with this program right now to take a moment and pause, as we talk, And I'm gonna say this one more thing. This one thing. I was in some conversations a couple weeks ago when I was going back to what you're saying. I heard somebody just talking over and over and over and over and over and over again. And you can tell people was ready to jump in like double Dutch. They couldn't get in because the person kept talking. And I'm like, wow, I don't want to be that way. To me, there's an awareness issue that was not being recognized. They didn't, there was no self-control in the moment as they were delivering the message or talking, and not respecting everybody else's time to get in to say a few things. I don't want to be like that. I want to use pause for a moment for rest and allowing others to contribute to conversations and work. The pause is not just conversations, it's multiple things in life. You know what I mean? All right, I'm done.
I think, G, when you use the word intentional, I think that speaks a lot to the value of a pause. So you're speaking, Ethan, about how valuable it can be. Yes, it can be valuable, but not without intention.
100%, man.
There has to be intention with everything in terms of, like, especially when you're talking about a rest, because if rest comes without intention, or a pause comes without intention, then that's when a pause can turn into a stop, or a pause can turn from a temporary break to failure,
Yeah.
or quitting, excuse me. I'm kind of processing through.
No, this is good, man.
What that looks like in practice, and it's again, it's shifting some of the way that I've been thinking about it, even just throughout the last little while today since we got the word. And now I got to think about being more intentional with not only pressing on the gas, but also being able to take a break from time to time.
Yeah. Because I know I've talked to you about that too, like because I know I have horrible sleeping. I've had horrible sleeping habits, and you know this too, right? It's been like this 20, 30 something years, right? Where it's just like I'll habitually stay up late, wake up early, and don't get enough rest, and I've started to see where it's had an effect. You know what I mean? So as I've gotten older, I've had to learn how to force myself to. And it's still a work in progress, but to, make myself go to sleep earlier and get enough rest, because I can start seeing now where my productivity, my speed, whatever will change throughout the day if I'm not resting enough. So I think part of that intentional behavior of a pause is you have to have that mixed in with enough, I don't know if discernment is the right word, but to make sure you understand and are doing something useful with that pause, not just sitting still, but having the intention of, like you said, integrating, growing, letting something kind of fester, letting it kind of rattle around in your head a little bit and kind of and find its place. That's purpose driven. You know what I mean? And I think it's kind of related, but it kind of speaks to us having an understanding of what we expect to happen during that pause. I remember one time we had a test going on some batteries, and I'm just gonna be quick because I know nobody cares about this stuff, but we had a test that was being run, and the batteries are just being cycled constantly. You drain it, charge it, whatever, back and forth. And we looked at the life of that battery over time, and the life curve, if it kind of went like this. We ran the test again because we're like, okay, your battery, it was a car battery, it was automotive testing. Your battery in the vehicle is not driven constantly like that because you park the car, you're not driving 24 hours a day. That test wasn't really realistic of what happens in the real world. So we reran the test with 8-hour rest in between every charge and discharge cycle. And the battery life cut off a lot sooner. It was almost like a quarter less than the life we saw in the longer test once you integrated in that real world pause. So understanding that the pause has an effect, but coming into that situation, having intention, having something that you're trying to accomplish, that pause will be meaningful. And again, not that humans operate that way, that if you stop and pause, you're going to have a quarter of your lifespan, but just to kind of emphasize how that pause made a difference in the outcome, that data, the way that part behaved, it was entirely different when it had pauses in there versus when it did not. I think humans are the opposite. We have that recharge period, that time to kind of rest and recalibrate and everything else works out to our benefit. But it's just, just recognizing that it has an impact in material world and biological, whatever. It always has its purpose, right, and its effect.
Very good.
Yeah,
man.
I agree.
I think the testing that you did is, I think, to recognize the difference between real world and in a box test is phenomenal to me. You know what I'm saying? Because I think what we're doing right here is we're trying to make it more real world with these. Put like this, I would say there was a lot of assumptions with this word for me. I can speak for me. I think I assumed this word wrong, and when I started truly looking at the I would say the deepness of this word, it allowed me to have more of an appreciation of the process of this word and a more appreciation of the operation of this word. And I think that the more we understand how to apply this word now, I think that a lot of our goals in mind would take on a new shape, so to speak. One thing that I do want to talk about is the potential harm that someone uses a pause for. Because I know a lot of times people would use pause in a spiteful way, so to speak. You know what I'm saying? Stonewalling and different things like that. Or the silent treatment, you know what I'm saying? Pause. Just pause there. Right? You know what I'm saying? That can be harmful to somebody, especially if somebody really cared about, what's going on and different things like that, and they intentionally create a atmosphere by pausing someone. You know what I'm saying? And I was just looking at that from that regard as well. So you can also use pause as a way to harm someone as well, or a mindset, a thought process, or different things like that.
It was a word we did a few weeks ago that was similar to that, though, right? The words like you got to understand the time frame you're dealing with, right? And to your point earlier, like what kind of urgency is required in a situation? Do you have time to pause and give, time to integrate and grow, or is it crunch time where you have to go nonstop until the race is won? You know what I mean? So I think that comes back to you got to understand what situation you're in when you pause. The life is not a debate, right? But the way a debate is run, the outcome is, maybe chosen a little bit differently. The rules are somewhat different. So it's about knowing what your situation is, and again, making an intention, making a plan of what you're going to do with that time, and making sure you understand how the passing of time is going to affect what you're doing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So,
I was thinking about the process of integrating, like we were talking about, as a pause.
I love that word too. That's perfect.
Yeah, I think so. How it's simultaneously a pause, but it's also still forward motion.
I love that.
Because you're still in an active process of growth when you're integrating new knowledge, new wisdom,
Yes,
greater levels of understanding. Even though you're not necessarily receiving or downloading at that time, the fact that you're processing it is still forward momentum. And so I like that kind of fact that we can be in a pause and also still moving forward at the same time. because the pause is only for one particular portion of the process, and then obviously the process is still happening.
That's exactly what I thought when you said that. You might give your physical body pause, but your mind is still in motion.
Yeah.
Right? So you're kind of putting let your body rest, but your mind is still moving forward and progressing.
Yes.
And it's still having that growth process. And then once you stop and you're ready for your body to go again, you got new information that you're dealing with.
Yes, and I'll take it even a step further. The soul never stops progressing.
Yeah.
Even when we
like
take
that.
time for our bodies and even our minds to rest.
Wow.
The soul never stops progressing, especially while we're in those moments where we're integrating like that wisdom. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Very good.
And so for me, I think that's kind of where I was originally leaning, without even giving consideration to the fact that obviously there's more than one element at play here. So I don't know. I kind of like that. It makes me smile a little bit thinking about the fact that both of those things can be happening at once, because it makes me feel like it makes me feel like I'm maximizing time.
Efficient.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was thinking about, I think, you asked me a couple of weeks ago, because we talked about this word a couple of weeks ago, and one of the words that I was thinking about was being in a coma, right? And coma is a pause, so to speak, but your body is actually given rest to, revitalize, rejuvenate, or however you want to say your body, your conditions, and sometimes you're forced into that state in order for your body to heal properly. And that's another thing. Pausing can be healing too. That's another word that can be in there. So I was thinking about, because we was talking about being in a coma, and I was thinking about, it was something that you said that hit my mind, and it just left. I'm gonna come back to it because if anybody else has something.
Yeah, you were saying
Write
that
it
a
down.
pause can be something that is healing, and I agree with you. It brought to my mind the dating scene. So I have a friend who actually just today I had a conversation with her about a challenging situation that she's going through with relationships. And she recently, went through a breakup and things like that, and it's, it's painful. But the idea, at least, the prevailing idea right now, is to take a break, step back while you heal, pause, and allow that time of reflection, of re-evaluating your own self-worth and value, to kind of start that healing process. And then once you've established that again, because let's face it, in some toxic relationships, we tend to lose ourselves, or we tend to, integrate our identity with that relationship and not just as an individual.
Very good.
So anyway, I like the fact that you pointed out, pausing or taking a break is one of the ways that we can kind of introduce healing.
Yeah. I love that, man, that you brought that up, because that's I can attest to that as well. That's one of the things. That's my own real world, real time experience as well, coming from a relationship and finding my wife, who I'm with right now. You know what I'm saying? And I think what it was is that evaluating and finding your identity, who you are, and really having a true relationship in my mind with God. You know what I'm saying? And once you establish that, then doors will open and you see things. You giving yourself the opportunity to see things a little bit clearer. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Having that relationship with God is paramount.
Yeah.
Understanding, because without understanding God, you don't understand who you are.
Yeah.
And having a clear sense of identity. And I'm not trying to take this, off into a spiritual place, but without having that clear sense of identity, that pause, wouldn't really do much.
That's so true. That's true.
And so I think that should be one of the main drivers in being intentional with that kind of pause.
Totally agree.
To say, okay, I'm going to take a break specifically for the purpose of learning myself, understanding who I am, what I need, what I don't need, what I want, what I don't want, and more importantly, like you said, building a greater relationship with God to understand, ourselves.
Oh yeah,
That's something that a lot of people may not come to, especially a proper understanding of God. But
I love that, man.
It's something that we can definitely aspire to.
So check this out, guys. I was thinking about this, like, so that pause doesn't mean to fill that void with something. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like a lot of times,
especially when we're talking about relationships. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, you good. You can keep going if you want.
No.
But, yeah, because I was just thinking about like that pause, that intentional pause, means something. That rest means something. It doesn't mean to just fill that gap with something to make you feel comfortable, because it goes back to the definition, because the silence or that pause is uncomfortable. It actually causes people a lot of the times that pause that is caused discomfort.
Sure, we're used to noise and chaos.
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah, absolutely. Go ahead.
No. Go ahead.
Yeah.
I was just dropping that in. Yeah.
No, I love that, man, because we're so used to noise and chaos is a part of us. Because like me and G, before you got here, me and G was having this conversation. I don't want to get into all the details, but some environments are based off of drama and chaos, and the very moment where peace arrives, they don't know what to do with it. They have no idea.
Yeah, bored. Yeah. Stillness is discomforting for a lot of people. Because I would say it's a part of human nature, but I don't think it is. I think it's a part of society, because we live in a place, in a time where distraction is monetized, essentially. You know what I mean? Attention itself is monetized. It's what is it? Commodified? Is that the word?
Commoditized.
Commoditized? I don't know about that.
I don't either. Let's pause.
I think it's commodified.
Right. You're probably right.
I think it's commodified. Right. But anyway, it's made into a commodity. Attention.
I love it, man.
Attention.
That's going to be our next word. I love it.
Right.
Right.
Yeah, attention is essentially a commodity, and so is distraction. We're not. Peace is not offered from the external world. Peace can only come from within.
You gotta say that again.
Peace is not offered from the external world. There's no avenue at all where you can find peace outside of what comes from within, what's given by God. And we live in a world that not only has that truth, but also the fact that it's actively fought against. It's not only that it's not offered, it's shunned. It's frowned upon.
Right.
And so with that in mind, it becomes imperative for somebody who wants to find that growth or find that peace, find that growth or take those pauses to start to learn ourselves and things like that, to say, I have to consciously and intentionally set myself apart from the things that would vie for my attention and things like that. That would rob me of peace and stillness.
Very good, man. So it was. We got a comment here. So commodified, is it?
Who is that?
Who said it? Tamara.
Line at a time.
Yeah. Good
it
stuff.
Is commodified.
Yeah.
You're looking out, sis.
That might be our next word on the next program. Yeah,
that's funny.
This to me, I don't want to beat a dead horse or anything like that. We don't have to really talk about this one too much longer. I thought it was really, really good that you guys brought up a couple of directions that I never thought of, man. Speaking on the being intentional with your pause, and Mike, you talking about the integration of the pause, man. That's powerful, dude. You know what I'm saying? Because because negatively, I think, in its entirety, going back to what you said, I don't think the world allows pause to be a benefit for growth.
Can I?
Yeah, man, go ahead.
Can I just jump right in it? Okay, you just said the sentence. I don't think the world allows a pause, something for growth.
For growth.
Yeah. So I agree with you, except for one word. You used the word allow. I don't believe that there's anybody that can allow us to do anything. If you want to grow, if you want to take a pause, that's your responsibility, and you have the ultimate, absolute authority to establish that for yourself. And so to phrase it in a way that puts that responsibility on the world, like as if society were able to allow us to do this or that. I think that we have to, and of course, I'm saying this because
Yeah.
we could talk like this. I think phrasing it in that way takes some of the responsibility off of us when the responsibility is on us 100%. You know what I'm saying?
I think I agree with both of you. I think that it's a matter of the world tries to interrupt.
Sure.
Your peace,
I
right?
agree with that 100%.
The world is trying to, but it's your responsibility to
I
find
agree
the
with
benefit to where you say, I'm not going to let you have that attention, that time. I'm going to take the time to pause, right? So I agree with both of you.
Yeah,
I think it's a matter of the world is always trying to get in. We have to kind of stop and fight it.
Sure, 100%.
And I think the reason why I say words like that at times, and I know I have to be careful, because I think this may sound egotistical, but I'm gonna say it anyway.
Didn't you just say you was gonna stop?
I just said that, bro. I just said that, man.
Come on, give it to us raw. Bro.
Yeah, but I'm trying to think at a higher level now. You understand what I'm saying? And
Okay.
I think that a lot of times, I think when you try to think at a higher level, I think sometimes it's frowned upon, right? Mm-hmm. And so if I can establish a way of communication to meet people where they are, not saying that I know everything. I'm not saying
Sure,
that.
none of us do.
But what I'm saying is meet people where they are, then we can get on this journey together. We can grow together. Okay, so I would so when I said allow, I 100% agree with what you're saying. 100%. But sometimes we have to get to a point where we can raise people up to that level. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't think people even understand that's that they have the power to override allowances. You know what I'm saying? I don't. But so let me kind of come right here so we can take this journey together and go up. But you clarified it earlier by saying that you and I can talk like that.
Sure,
We can
100%.
You can slam me. And
I'm
I
not
know
trying
you
to
still
slam
love
you,
me.
but you know
no,
what I'm
no,
saying.
no. I'm actually to say do it.
Oh, yeah.
Do it. No, do it. Just do it. Right. You know what I'm saying?
Please, sir, may I have another?
Yeah, but for real though, man. So the thing is, it's like, because if you don't do that, how do we grow? You see what I'm saying? So I'm hard on myself, right? But then if I have a brother or a sister that's hard on me as well, because they see the potential that I missed, man, it's your job to do that.
That's
man.
exactly
You know what
right.
I'm saying?
I agree with
So,
you
yeah,
100%.
go ahead. I'm done.
Yeah.
Anyway.
So the reason why I interject at times like that is because, and this is something that we've all heard a million times, is that life and death are both in the power of the tongue. It's in what we say. It's contained in the words that we speak. And with a podcast that's specifically designed to help us to speak better and use words more effectively to reach the level of communication that we want, or to bring ourselves that life that we speak of.
Positive outcome.
Exactly.
Oh, yeah.
That means that every word counts.
Yeah.
We're letting our words count, and every single one of them matters.
100%.
And so for me, even small nuances like that, I'm always looking for ways to
Empower.
Yes, exactly. That's a perfect word for it. Yes, to use every word for my own empowerment and the empowerment of people around me.
100%.
And so, if I'm thinking of, or if, in an instance where I hear you say that, and I know you didn't mean it like this, but I'm gonna say it just for the sake of the audience.
go ahead.
But if I hear you say, I'm not allowed to do this or that, especially when it's something that you absolutely have full control over.
Right.
Then I feel it's imperative to say, oh, well,
Yeah.
ain't nobody about to allow you to do nothing. You can do whatever you want. You know what I'm saying? You're an independent person,
Correct.
And with those moments, we're able to really let our words count. You know what I'm saying?
I love that, man.
And I think it's especially a challenge because we were talking about this the other day. words are a very low frequency form of communication. So it's difficult. And I think I noticed this when all three of us talk, right? Mm-hmm. We all like pause a lot while we're speaking, and it's because the ideas you have in your mind, trying to find the right words to communicate that idea, it's a job, right? And if you're being careful, and again, like we're trying to have a podcast talking about how our words count, we want to be effectual and want to be intentional about the way we're saying things, but it's a job, because when you're trying to take these higher level thoughts and then put them into the lowest form of communication, it takes an effort, and that's why we like to kind of challenge each other on that kind of stuff too, right?
Absolutely, 100%. I find that language is
that pause.
Yeah, actually, I was gonna make a statement, but I actually want to change it and ask a question. You said that language is the lowest form of communication.
It's a very low form of communication. I think, like, when I'm trying not to get too esoteric with it, but there's
it ain't nobody here but us.
All right, so yeah, in the whole world.
They'll be
anyway,
all right.
I know, but it's
They'll
like when you
No,
when you look at, even think of, okay, because this is an example that most people I think would be okay to accept. Mm-hmm. You look at like the Bible, where it talks about like God knows the thoughts and intents of the heart. Mm-hmm. When you can share at a level of emotions and sharing thoughts, you can convey a whole lot more than you can with a few words. An example, right? If I were to say to you right now, don't take the blue pill, right? Without me saying Matrix, Neo, everything else, that phrase, because you know what movie it comes from, there is a huge conversation that's happened in us saying those few words, right? So
Powerful,
the ability to kind of communicate a thought, if you have some kind of common ground, it's easier to do. When you're talking about something new or something for the first time, you're trying to kind of take it down from this emotional level where it's complex, has all these, connecting parts of it to, kind of spit out a single thought about what you're trying to get to. You know what I mean? I think like when you look at like, if you believe in like telepathy or that kind of thing, you can communicate more, and people that have had that kind of experience say that communication happens a lot faster because you're not trying to find words, and that words that don't fully contain the idea you can share like at an emotional level, at a thought form level, and that communication happens faster. You know what I mean? So there's just like this book that I've read that kind of talks about like the different layers of communication, and it says that why words are so often misunderstood or lead to the opposite outcome of what that word intended was because it's a low form of communication. It's very much up to the hearer to decide and pick and choose what part of that thought or that word that was spoken that they heard or that they agree with. If you connect at a thought level, you don't have that leeway to kind of go out there and say like, hey, well, no, this is what I heard or this is what I think they said. It's at a different level of communication. So trying to take a highly complex thought and bring it down into the spoken word, it's just like you're downgrading and you're down capacitizing whatever that thought is. You know what I mean?
So are you referring to the speed at which we can communicate?
No, the effectiveness. How thorough we can explain what it is we're thinking.
Okay.
Right. Because it's just, and again, I'm using some of these esoteric examples, but like that people have spoken to, that when they have that kind of experience with another being, there is a whole lot more that's said in a much shorter time, because you're feeling the emotions, you're feeling what that person is intending without having to wait and listen to them saying the words one at a time. There's like a lot more that can be communicated with that kind of connection, which is, I think, the way, God communicates, and is why, when you have that direct communication, there is a lot less chance of misinterpreting or misunderstanding something, because it brings your understanding along in a way that words may fall short of doing.
Okay, right. I agree with you. I think, though, along with that, I do agree with you. I think along with that, though, misinterpretation and ineffectiveness of communication through words typically comes from a lack of mastery of whatever language you're speaking. So if we're talking communicating in English, I think that we can minimize that level of miscommunication and maximize the ability to effectively communicate even without those additional levels, simply by mastering the language that we're using.
So my example,
speaker and hearer.
My example is one Bible, how many different denominations?
Denominations?
Translations.
Or
denominations.
I don't know, countless.
Oh man,
That's my point. If you want to take something,
but that's
that
the
people,
folly of mankind, though.
it is. But I'm saying I think that part of that characteristic though is because we're limited to communicating spoken word. You know what I mean? I think that there's a lot more that could be communicated in different ways, and being limited to words, I think leaves something on the table. Right? It's just not the most effective way.
It's not. I agree with that. Okay.
Yeah.
Yes, I agree with that.
I was like, I think like we said in the last episode, it's like words, you can be hacked, and that's the biggest thing that I take from what you're saying, G, as far as being the lowest level of communication in that regard. You know what I mean? Because especially the English language is a hot mess when it comes to many. It really is, man. Red. I mean, you have so many different terminologies that have so many. I forgot the terminology of it, but one word will mean multiple things. And when you put that inside of a instruction manual, you're going to cause multiple people from different parts of the world or nation or whatnot to do different things. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, but that's because they haven't mastered the language. So like any language has barriers for people who haven't mastered it.
But understand the master, but once again, that's still low, right? Like even if you have to say you have to master it, if you have to master in that, this is just my understanding, right? So if you say you have to master something, that means that there is a chance that you've missed something. You see what I'm saying? Like to me, in my mind, and this might get a little controversial, if you say God knows all, which I believe he knows all, does God communicate with words? I think he has to do that in order for us as developed creatures to understand how to do something. I believe God is greater than that in my regard. You know what I mean?
So if I could jump in, because I should have been more clear, because that's kind of where there's one book, and you all know, like the few that I kind of hold in high regard next to the one we were raised on. But there was a book where that was kind of what was said, like by God was, try to speak through synchronicities, through life experiences in your heart, through emotion, all these other ways that God tries to communicate. And if all those ways fail, words are like the last resort. You know what I mean? Like if you can't feel, can't sense, can't perceive God's communication with you in all these other ways, if all those things fail, the last resort is spoken word, because it takes so much more to convey a thought than if you look at two brains being linked or telepathic communication or God to a person. He tries all these other ways first. And when all those ways fail, the last resort is words. And that's kind of, where that thought came from. So it's not, something I'm just going to say it has to be like rock solid for everybody, but that it made sense to me because of the things that I've heard of people like, talk about telepathy and stuff like that. So
I got something I want to share with y'all after we get off the
air.
Okay. One of the main reasons why I'm giving y'all this pushback, but
got you.
Oh, that's fine.
Once we get off the air.
Yep.
Yeah.
Good stuff.
So this is good stuff.
We got off topic a little bit, but that's all right.
No, actually,
still talking about letting our words count.
Yeah, true.
Yeah, exactly.
True.
No, this is actually pretty good. We're pausing for a minute, and then we're talking about something else. That's about growth.
We pausing for it.
Yeah, it's a beautiful thing, to be able to have these conversations with you guys and to really address a lot of issues that we have concerning this. Okay, before we go, G, you want to say that?
So we had a thought. Interesting, heard a quote from St. Francis of Assisi. Preach the gospel at all times. When necessary, use words.
Ooh,
that's it.
I've heard that before. That's really good.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, when necessary, use words. I think
because we're living epistles.
That I was just about to say that it's actions speak louder than words, and that's the reason why and that's what I'm saying. It's like if you want to talk about God. God's communication is through action. It's a lot of times it's through action, man, and that's kind of like how I feel, man.
Love not in word only, but indeed.
Boy, come on, man.
Okay, Elder.
All right.
A long time.
Hey, this has been such a good conversation. I've been trying to shut up while we close this out, man. But my name is Ethan Merriweather. Please like, share, subscribe. We are so thankful to gather together to talk about these words, share these words. Please share it with someone. If you feel it valuable, please share, like, and subscribe. I am here. Yeah,
also, don't forget to include word suggestions. We had one from the last time that we recorded. We're going to use that one. I can't remember which word it was, but we got it written down.
Yeah, we got it.
And so we're going to start building at least some of the words that we use from, listener suggestions. So please be sure to send those in whenever you have a thought. Even if it's not while we're streaming live, you can write it in the comments, or, if you know one of us personally, you can send it that way or however. We'd love to use some of the words that you guys recommend.
Oh, yeah. G, what's your last word?
I'm all set, bro. I'm good.
All right, y'all.
Yep, y'all got it.
Let
Mike,
your words count.
There you go.
Let them count.
All right. God bless you.
Later.